Good afternoon, Brian. Welcome to Spotlight Fridays.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. We've been chatting to each other for some time, so it's about time we'll make it live on Spotlight Fridays. Happy Friday to everyone else who's joining us live. Please say hi and drop us an emoji in comments because, as you know, we can't see you, but we will be able to read your comments during or after our chat. Brian Pham, you are the founder and the CEO of Lightcard, Australian born tech. Maybe you're not Australian born, but Australian born tech.
I'm
And
Australian
you,
born.
you are first generation, even better. I was just wondering because you were inspired by Gabby's book, I believe. You see, I binged on Bushy's podcast interview with you. I know. Catch
I
of
mean,
the day.
yeah, inspired by a lot of books, but I think Gabby as well is and Hezi an amazing Australian story too. I think there's a lot to learn when you do grow a business in this space from this part of the world. So definitely.
Yes, 100%. That's why I didn't link it. So, immigrant, no, but yes, the hustle culture for sure. Well, welcome. You are transforming the mobile wallet marketing for sure because everywhere I go and everyone I speak to, somehow your name gets dropped in casually. Have you spoken to Brian? Have you seen this technology? It's like, yes, I know the technology. I am speaking with Brian on the regular basis. So tell us a little bit more about that because you've achieved enormous success in 3 years. So we would like to hear how it came about and what's the strategy.
Sure. So I think like after a number of years of working across CRM and e-commerce, I worked pretty closely with Oracle, Salesforce, as well as Shopify. And I just thought to myself, like, but the e-commerce landscape is changing so much in the future. And how do we best prepare for that? Like, what sort of tools will people use? And just looking at how advertising is evolving, how people are interacting with SMS and email, or even like a mobile app. It's like, am I going to download something else? Am I going to open up like a new flyer or a coupon and carry it around? So probably not. So it's like, what's the next best thing? And then I also started to just studied, I guess, like Microsoft Word and Gmail, and you saw like how all of these technologies diverged, traditional methods. Like they just made it a lot easier for people, and the user experience was great. And then all the data around it as well as it evolved. So we sort of thinking something very similar across Wallet, and then we burst Lightcard as a new sort of CRM and e-commerce tool.
Amazing. So you are a real visionary, which wouldn't be easy because you do need to look into not what's now, but what is the trend. You reminded me, I just came back from the retail study tour in China, and I had a feeling again, after not being there for 7 years, that someone put me on the speed train into the future. It is remarkable the innovation and the whole experiential CX that's going on there in the retail and how they look at it and with the view of the future and where the consumer is trend is and how it's going to be and how it's going to evolve. It is remarkable. So I want to applaud you for having that vision because it definitely has worked for you because in the last 3 years you signed up some amazing clients.
Thank you. I think it's really important, right? Especially as people who are leading technology these days, to think about, yes, what problems are we having now, but how are these problems going to change in the next 24, 36 months? I think that's what a lot of people are starting to do, which is great. And that's how we've always approached the industry. It's like, yes, I might not download an app now, I might not come into store, but how's that going to change in the next 24 months? Like, where are people going to be spending their time? So where brands going to be spending their money? And like, what's going to make sense? And then like, how does that, budget change over the next few years, right? So I think a lot of these things are things that people should be looking at a lot more now. And we're starting to do that.
So, at the core of your strategy, would you say that solving customers' problems, that's what they question? This is how you frame it?
Definitely product market fit. The way that people look at our business is like, oh, maybe it's just another Apple and Google Wallet platform. But how we're actually looking at the industry is we're actually a marketing platform. It's a different type of marketing. We've got two primary products at the moment, and just about to release like another two. So there's just so much you can do in this space, but a big part of that's education as well, right?
For sure. I do look at it as a marketing platform as well, because who would have thought even 2, 3 years ago that we will be using our digital wallet as much as we are using it right now? So, but also the reason why I look at your solution as a marketing solution, because it's very light touch on development, or not at all, as opposed to the app. And plus, I launched the app many years ago. I know how expensive it is and how clunky it is, and the upgrades and the updates and the development time that is required. So you surpass the whole thing, all the complexities of the whole process.
I think like not all the time, right? And I don't think apps are going to go anywhere. I don't think email or SMS is going to go anywhere either. I think they're all like extremely important in every user journey. Doesn't matter what industry you're in or what category and how you approach that category, even as a retailer or a brand. But what I do think is that over the next few years, like a lot's going to change in terms of how people interact with these different mediums. We call them like media channels. And so, having the ability to test new media channels as per your brand strategy and geography is extremely important. And if you look at marketing dollars and spend, like that's where a lot of it's going at the moment. So, how can we deliver that, as you said, as a product market fit to solve that potential problem that's either, people are having now or in the next few years?
So how do marketers can test that via the digital wallet? How can they test those channels and its performance?
Yeah. So you can do things like so most brands and retailers have a 12 month promotional calendar anyway, right? Even if you're
Well, the best of times, but yes, the most organized ones. But
true.
yes, there are a lot of reactionary marketing as well that I see.
Yeah, and I think that's important, right? Because there's so many different types of offers. There's manual offers, which is, as you said, reactionary. There's automated, and then there's win back, and there's scheduled. So there's so many different types. And from a marketing perspective, even if you're a luxury brand that's not seen to do offers, like and coupons and discounts, like there are always ways to win back customers and reward them, right? In a loyalty perspective. So a good way that brands are testing this is rather than sending like a $5 off to a churning customer or a prospect, at like some stage of the sales funnel, you can send them that offer as a wallet pass. So it's augmenting that customer experience instead of just getting a normal email, just getting another SMS, or just getting another social media ad. You can literally just click through the ad or the email or the SMS, and we'll add the offer into your wallet, which allows you to rain check it. So it's interesting because so many people are interested and engaged in brands. That's why they're in the bottom of the funnel, but they just don't have the time or the patience to actually go and transact at the right time.
So that's a very interesting point. Are we talking about the dwell time then of the rewards or offers that sit in the digital wallet versus other channels like emails and SMSs that get lost in the whole noise of emails and SMSs?
I mean, potentially, but it's probably all connected. So, if you get rid of email, like your brand will suffer tremendously. But if you add wallet on top of email, like some really interesting things could happen. So I think it's like, and you got to look at it from like a perspective of if you've got a million people in your CRM database, like you're probably not going to get a million downloads in a mobile wallet pass, but you might get 15, 20, 30%. And that's not going to equal 300,000 new purchases, but it might equal, 10 or 20,000, which is incrementally strong for a lot of brands out there.
Well, you're never going to have a 100% open rate from emails either or SMSs. So it's exactly the same criteria. But when you test it and you track its behavior, people's behavior via those channels over time, then you can obviously segment it and you can just send different communication via different channels.
But it's interesting that you say tracking, right? Because you imagine like all of these brands out there, like how many email and SMS are you sending out all the time? How many impressions are you getting on a social media ad? By adding it to your wallet, what you can actually do is track that. I know that Anna's seen my email or YouTube ad and then gone in store or come online and purchased after by scanning a barcode, QR code, or entering like a unique code that you've set up. So that's why it's so important to build products in this e-commerce ecosystem to achieve those sort of flows. And that's where we focus our time on.
I know in your conversation with Bushi, you mentioned that there is an engagement rate that's hitting around 30% for campaigns that delivered via Apple and Google wallets, which is it's a significant number in comparison to other channels.
So
30%.
it depends, right? Depends a lot on the brand strategy, but that's what we've seen on a medium. I mean, like some extreme cases we've seen up to 50 or 60%, to be honest. But how we look at it is from a standardized perspective. So if you're looking at how many people open up like an app every 60 days, for example, could be single digit percentage, right? Like sometimes 1 or 2% of the whole CRM database. But if you look at the amount of people that are scanning like a digital membership card, easily up to 20 to 30%, because it's easy. And you don't have to open up your app, you don't have to update it, it doesn't take up like a lot of space in your phone either. And I think that's what you're seeing with Apple and Google at the moment. It's super interesting how you do have to update your app every 2 weeks and it logs you back out. And so they're trying to prioritize customer experience, which is where I think a lot of brands that are strong are also prioritizing.
That's such a good point. It's beyond irritating when there is an update and you have to log in again. I mean, who remembers all the usernames and passwords across so many hundreds of apps that we're using? I just ditch it. I can't even be bothered. If it's not in my wallet, I'm just not going to use it. And plus, the loyalty card, they just need to be obsolete. The physical ones, I don't even know why we still have them on the market.
Look,
Well, I know actually why from technical point of view. I know why, but we
um,
shouldn't.
yeah, we're actually just about to release our new product. It's called Wallet Maker. So just literally walletmaker.io, and then what you can do from there is you scan like a QR code or a barcode and just adds it into your Apple and Google Wallet straight away. Like takes like less than 5 seconds, sort of thing. So yeah, I think that's really exciting. It's one of our new products that we're about to release. As well as like a few different things like Shopify apps and everything. So yeah.
That's exciting. I didn't know about it. When are you releasing it?
Um, Sometime next week will be final testing, and then probably the week after, so early September.
Brilliant. How often do you release the new product?
Well, the last product we released was probably like close to 10 months ago, which was the ability to add offers in your mobile wallet. So it's more like a couponing voucher, like digital journey perspective. And then yeah, the next one will be this wallet maker one, and from there potentially yeah, the next Shopify app coming out in September as well.
Brilliant. Well done. You're moving very fast in
Faster?
real entrepreneurship style.
No,
Can't
not at
even pronounce that.
all.
Um, so let's talk about AI.
Yeah.
How is it currently being leveraged?
Well, it's interesting, right? I think like we're actually pretty lucky that we didn't start this journey like 10 years ago and then have like 100 developers at the moment. Because if you look at all of those huge brands like Yotpo and Klaviyo and everything, and probably like Shopify, Salesforce, same thing, right? Is that like a lot of these 100 or 1,000 man development teams are starting to go, how can we, you know, trim down a lot of our costs from development? And so we were young enough to go, okay, like we probably should be incorporating AI into most parts of our stack. And we're always thinking about from a technology perspective, how can we make that better, security wise, building speed wise. So that's how we've incorporated AI into our business so far. Obviously, there's a lot around customer support, material building, all the fun things of content building as well. But that will change in the next few years as well. But what I really love about our business is like it's pretty real. Like you're sending a push notification, you're delivering branded content to a customer. You're not everyone's going to convert, but you're going to get a lot of conversions, and you can track it. And I think those sort of things are at the moment like outside of the realms of where AI really affects. So that's how we're seeing it.
Brilliant. And I think your solution is just so easy that it empowers marketing people to use it all the time. Because tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it's just a matter of uploading the offers or rewards directly through the platform.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Then you can just export that flow and embed it into like a Klaviyo flow or dot digital, Salesforce, whatever you use, and it's pretty lightweight to test as per the name. But uh, we yeah, that's what we try to do, right? Like we try to put ourselves in the shoes of a lot of brands out there, and it's like do I really want to make another integration for something to test it? Do I really need to get all this budget sign off, or do I go back into IT? And for us, like, we want to help brands test fast and learn as well, and then be able to invest into it from there with like a product roadmap with light card, if that makes sense.
That's why you call it light card. I didn't realize it. So it's a light touch. That's smart.
I think the way that we look at it, right, is like in the future, and now we can see it all the time. It's like so many people are just wanting to own listings and do listings as well. So it's like, how can we enable that and make that a better customer experience for everyone too?
I have a question for you about the adoption rate when you present the light card solution. What do you see on the market? Is that the appetite to innovate and move at speed, and do a proof of concept fast? Because if the brand never used it, what is the appetite to actually go and do it?
Depends on the brand strategy a lot of the time. A lot of different brands have different directives, right? So we break down the market into, all the way from consumer packaged goods to retail. Then inside retail, we've got a few different categories we look at, from fashion to pharmacy to grocery, hardware, DIY, food and beverage, hospitality, so on and so forth as well. So I think a lot of that also is dependent on what technologies are available in the ecosystem and geography, and how we, play with them, I guess, or integrate and partner with them. But the more and more we understand which customer uses us best, the more and more we see a higher adoption rate. And I think at the end of the day, like, most brands are thinking about the same thing: how can I make the customer experience better? Because I know that's going to get the customer back in store, and I need, my physical stores to have more visitors essentially and transact more. So really thinking about, like, brands that think about online to offline journeys are picking up us fast as well. Brands that are putting customer experience first are picking us up fast, and that's been the main trends.
Do you find that people are referring you more often, or you have to reach out to the brand, or both?
A lot of both, but we definitely see, I think it's the referral model, right? Because at the end of the day, like, if you look at a category leader and see what they're doing, you're probably going to go, we should try that at least.
You have a real FOMO.
Yeah, and then when you can provide the customer like a clear path to trial and measure the results, and then the investment has made sense since like day one, and the rest of the business is convinced, it's pretty smooth sailing from there most of the time.
Good answer, most of the time. So let's switch gears. I actually read it somewhere that you adopted this agency partnership with the go to market model. And I don't see it actually very often, but you made a decision that you will partner with the agencies to talk about your solution. I thought it's very clever. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you look at e-commerce, you look at who are the goats, like the people who are destroying it at the moment in a good way, and Shopify, right? That's going to be $1 trillion company soon. And when you study like the e-commerce growth plans of businesses like Shopify, it was very agency led. And it's the same thing, right? Like, when we talk with a lot of brands, they're gonna first thing they're gonna do is go to their IT provider and be like, "What do you think about this? Like, do you have any solutions?" And the IT provider is gonna look at this and be like, "We could build this, and it could be like pretty decent for like the rest of our other customers, but that's not our main business. It's to provide IT and data and support and implement hardware." And so when we're able to build that partnership strategy with them to a point where it makes sense for them, makes sense for the brand, I think it's been quite healthy across different regions as well. The best part about that was that we saw that it worked with Shopify, so we didn't have to take like too much of a risk, right? So it's just learning what clues they left behind.
You are so smart. That's very, very clever, what you just said. You just watch the ones who have done it before and done it very well and adopted it to your model. That's so good. So you've taken this educational approach with IT. So this is the subject that's very close to my heart because I've had and still have many, many conversations where we join IT and CIOs and CTOs of the world and their team and the digital and marketing team. So when you go and have these conversations with the brands, who is involved in those conversations from the brand's perspective?
Yeah, most of the time, e-com and CRM people. Obviously, you've got your IT, marketing, CX a lot of the time as well. But at the end of the day, we are an e-commerce and CRM platform, so those are the best. Those are the people that can use it. Number one, but they're the best people to translate the value back to the business. Obviously, it depends on the infrastructure of the business, size, geography, and makeup. But most of the time, that's it. And then when IT does get involved, they see that it's like, oh, barely one API call with like almost no PII. Like, awesome, we don't have to do work. Great. And I think like as people that work with ecom and IT, like that's the best case scenario, right?
Absolutely, yes. Okay, we'll switch gears and I want to ask you a couple of questions about you, if you don't mind. Even if you do mind, I'm going to ask you.
Yep. Sure.
What's been your biggest challenge and what did you learn from it? Recently or not so recently, it's up to you.
Stakeholder management as a venture founder, like stakeholder management is like stakeholder as people you work alongside with, all the way to investors, all the way to customers, and I think managing how they view you as a team as well as the brand, and what your aspirations are, and sort of really just you know being able to manage them, because I think that's something that people neglect a lot. It's so easy to just sign up hundreds of customers and then your first few have had inquiries and they haven't been answered. So it's really managing that stakeholder. Same with early stage businesses. It's always tough to manage a team, because there's so many uncertainties, and that comes with the nature of running and being part of a startup. So managing those expectations as much as possible to create and sustain those healthy relationships is, I think, extremely important. Goes the same way with investors as well, right? So easy to, I mean, it's kind of scary when you're not managing your own funds anymore. It's other people's and they have expectations as well. So being able to manage all those things in line is a skill that I would have doubled, tripled down on at the very beginning if I could again.
Well, okay. Well, that's leads me to the next question about what advice would you give to a younger self? Because you're right, in the startup world, you have to manage so many variables, and they are very, very different level of conversations to have with each of those that you've already mentioned. And you just have to constantly switch hats and switch gears in real time. So well done. It's admirable that you managing it so well, and it wouldn't be easy because you grow so fast as well. So going back to my question, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Yeah, this is a really good question. I think about this sometimes, and the number one thing number one advice I'd give to my younger self would be treat work as a data model. It sounds a bit nerdy, but seriously, like treat like this whole venture business as a data model. At the end of the day, like what we want to be aiming towards is if we put a dollar into the business, we know exactly how much we're going to get out, and like what sort of data models do you need to achieve that. And I think if you're not working towards that, and if you don't understand that, then essentially you're just sort of pushing mud around, seeing what works and what sticks, right? So I think like to have that as a thesis for a customer, even like if they invest into us, what are the risks? How much are they going to get out? Same with an investor. If an investor invests into us, well, what's the risks? How much are they going to get out? So really, just taking that perspective, totally non-emotional data model has been like a real strength, that we needed to lean into. So definitely thinking about those things earlier would be much better. And that's a lot of people ask me, what's if I'm what's some good tips for me if I'm trying to raise capital or grow a business, and always just say, look at it like a data model, and then what data do you need, what data are you lacking, and what do you have at the moment, and go from there, and iterate, right?
This is brilliant. A non-emotional data model. I've never heard that before. This is so good. I'm going to steal it from you. This is this has been such a the impactful conversation for me, Brian. And I've had many conversations with you, but I once again learned a lot. So just briefly tell us what is next for you. So you're launching the new product. What else is happening?
Well, it's again going to sound pretty geeky, but now it's just about learning the data model with the new product, right? So we have a few theories about how it's going to perform in the market in certain geographies, and we've provided some budgets to test that data. So that's what we'll be doing for the next 3 to 6 months, and then incorporating that back into the business as a whole to understand how that affects the whole business model. So just yeah, a lot of market work, but also supporting a lot of these brands that have signed on recently. So there've been some amazing brands with incredible stories that have trusted us to roll out offers and promotions into their CRM stack, as well as like a membership or a loyalty card. And so at the moment, going from trial to full blown, or just signing them on, in general, to help them understand what success is, and putting that customer first is going to be a big focus for us in the next few months. So it's going to keep us busy, and hopefully the rest of the world and our offices everywhere else will begin to follow, and see how we go from there.
That's so good. And congratulations. And I agree with your next steps, focusing on the customer and helping them grow and educating them. And in some cases, even holding their hand and building that relationship with them goes a long way, I think. And I don't know how you come up with those theories in different markets, but I suspect that you just gather lots of feedback, listen to that feedback, test it, apply the data model concept, and just take it from there.
Yeah, throw it into AI, see how it goes. Yep.
Well done. Brian, it's been a great conversation. I got a lot out of it, and I hope that people join us as well. And I wish you all the success. I'm a big supporter of your success as well, and I think you're doing some great work on the market and amongst people that caring for your solution, and wishing you the best.
Yeah, it's been an absolute honor, Anna. Thank you for having me on, and look forward to the next time as well.
For everyone else, thanks for joining us, and thank you for throwing all your comments and questions in the chat section. We'll get into it after this call. Thanks, everyone. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next week. Bye.